favorite webinars is because I don't have to do much of anything. All right. All of the work is going to happen from all of you. So if you are not on your computer yet, well, I mean, you're on your computer or something because you're watching this webinar, but you're going to want to make sure that you are signed into your Book Creator account in order for this to be the most beneficial. If you're not near a computer and you just want to watch, that's fine too. But I definitely recommend getting on your computer so that you can do this. So the assumption is that everybody has a fairly decent understanding of Book Creator at this point. Hopefully you have been to many of our webinars and you've learned quite a bit. And this is kind of the culmination of all of that. And before we do this, I want to give you a little bit of history about how this kind of webinar started. Oh gosh, it was probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe. Somebody asked me to host a Twitter chat. Now, if you're familiar with Twitter chats, what happens usually is that there's a host. The host asks a question, and then everybody who's watching the Twitter chat answers the question. And then the host asks another question, and then everybody answers the question, right? And I used to participate in Twitter chats all the time, probably more than I probably should admit, right? Like 4 or 5 a week. And what I found out eventually was that a lot of the people who were hosts were the same. A lot of the questions that people asked were the same. A lot of the answers that people gave were the same. And so I got a little bit tired of doing the typical Twitter chat. And so when one of my friends asked me to host a Twitter chat, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do this, but I'm going to make it different. All right, I'm going to make it really, really awesome. And this guy, who's my friend, he goes, well, what are you going to talk about? What are your questions? And I said, I'm not going to tell you. And he was like, why? And I said, because I want it to be a surprise. I don't want people to front load their answers. I want it to be like raw, real answers right on the spot. And he goes, okay, that's cool. I trust you. Right. And I was like, all right. So what I did was instead of asking questions, I gave people tasks that I wanted them to complete. But the kicker is that the tasks had to be done in Book Creator. Now, the very first time I did this, Book Creator was only available on the iPad. So people had to answer questions by making a page in a book, screenshot it, and then tweet out the page, right? So that I could see it. Well, we did this and I gave them the instruction and I said, here's question or task number one. Go ahead and do it. And everybody was like, okay, cool. And they start. And right as soon as they started, I tweeted out and I said, oh, by the way, you only get 6 minutes to do the question. And everybody was like, wait, what? And I was like, the timer's on, go. And so I literally put the timer on my phone and I said, here you go, start answering the question by making a page in a book. We did this over and over again. All right. And we did, I think, about 7 tasks at the time. Each task had a little bit of a different time frame to it. And at the very end, we took everybody's work and we combined it together in one giant book. Hence the one book, 1 hour project. So we all became published authors in 1 hour. And at the end, I asked if anybody had any questions. Did anybody have fun? You know, what went well, what anything like that, like I always do on a webinar. And the very first tweet kind of took me by surprise. And I looked at the question or I said, how did everybody do? Did everybody have fun? And the very first tweet answer was, this was the most stressful thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, this was supposed to be fun, right? Like, I was like, no, wasn't supposed to be stressful. And I tweeted that out. And the guy who tweeted it said, no, I had a blast. He's like, it was a lot of fun, but it was super stressful. And I was like, well, why? And he goes, because for the first time in 20 years, I felt like a kid again. And I was like, I like it. I was like, I like this, right? And so ever since then, I've made it my life's mission to stress teachers out and make you feel like children. All right. And so that's what we're going to do today. All right. We're going to stress you out a little bit. No, I'm teasing. It's not going to be stressful. So don't hit the leave button just yet. All right. We're going to have some fun with this. But here's how it's going to work. I'm going to invite you into my library. And once you're in the library, I'm going to give you some very specific instructions on what to do. Now, it's very important that you listen to those instructions, because if you don't, then you're going to get to a spot where you don't want to be. All right. So here we go. I'm going to click on the button. I'm going to put up the invite code. All right. So if you need to write that down, write that down. I'm also going to put it into the chat window. All right. And so what you can do is take that code. And if you have never joined another person's library before, what you're going to do is you're going to go to, and I'll put this code back up in a second. You're going to go to your teacher dashboard, which is those 3 black lines at the top left. And then you're going to scroll all the way to the very bottom. Right at the very bottom, there's a line that says join a library. You're going to click that button. You're going to enter that code again, and you're going to click join my library. Now, it's very important that when you get into my library, you stop. All right. Don't do anything else after you are in the library. Just stop right there. All right. I see some people that are already in. That's great. Now, the real trick is, can we follow the directions? Right? Just like our kids. Don't touch anything. All right. Just get in the library and stop. And what you should see is this book that says 1 book, 1 hour right in front of you. All right. Now I'm going to put up that code again, because we've got about 13 people that are on the webinar, and I see about 4 that are in the library. So I'm going to give you a second to do this. Now, while you're doing this, I'm going to give you some more instructions. All right. In the library, if you click the little arrows at the bottom, you're going to see a bunch of different books, all right, in that library. And it's important that you do not click on any of those books, all right? Not yet. And I know you're kind of feeling like the students here. You're like, oh, you're teasing us. We just want to click the books. We want to break the rules a little bit. We want to get in there and see what's going on. Don't do it just yet. All right, now. All right, now, Jacqueline, if you do not have Book Creator, that brings about its own separate issues, right, with tonight's webinar. So the first thing you're going to want to do, and Kathleen, forgive me if you're still here, I forget how everybody logs in. Is it through Clever or ClassLink, or are we doing our Google sign-in? Or if somebody, Stephanie, I saw you mouth something, but I missed it.
Google.
Google. Okay, perfect. So Jacqueline, the very first thing you're going to want to do is go to our website, which is app.bookcreator.com. And when you go to app.bookcreator.com, you're going to click this button that says switch to teacher. All right, so you're going to see a big blue screen in front of you. And that's where you're going to hit sign in with Google. All right, and it's going to automatically upgrade your account to the full version. Now, when you do that, it's going to ask you a couple questions. What do you teach? What grade level? Just answer the questions, make stuff up, jump through the hoops. That's all you really need to worry about. And then once you've jumped through the hoops, then you'll be brought to this kind of screen. But you're still going to need to join our library. All right. So hopefully that code is still in the chat window, and then that will get you into the library. So once you're there, you'll see the 1 book, 1 hour book. Okay, I'm going to take a look here and see if we've got more people in our library. We do. Excellent. All right, so here's what we're going to do. In the library, underneath the books, you'll see these little skinny white arrows. You're going to click the right arrow until you get to this book that says, "Who are you?" And on the cover, it says, "Tell me about yourself." Okay? Once you're there, do not do anything else yet. All right, and I'm going to explain why. Because if you try to get into this book now, you will only be able to read it. You won't be able to do anything. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how this page is going to work. When I tell you, not yet, when I tell you, you're going to click on the book. Not yet. You're going to click on the book, and you are not going to mess with my cover page. All right. You're not going to mess with my cover page. If you do, I will call you out. All right. I had a webinar one time where this lady, her name was Judy. She kept messing with my cover page, and I had to finally yell at her and kick her out of the webinar because she kept messing with stuff. It's very important that you do not mess with this cover page. But when I tell you to, again, not yet, you're going to go into the book and you're going to find a page that looks like this. There's 100 pages to choose from. So don't fight anybody over a page. If you get in there and you see that somebody's already on the page, go to a new page. Just hit the little arrow and go to a new page, or click the pages button and you'll see little heads popping up on here. Find a page that doesn't have a little head on it. All right. And when you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to go in here, you're going to answer the questions. My name is John Smith. I teach. Well, what do I teach? I teach teachers. If I could be anywhere right now, it would be on the golf course or washing a car. One interesting fact about me, which isn't interesting anymore, is that I detail cars. All right. So there we go. So I start answering the questions. Now, I want to put something in there, right, to make it more fun. So you're going to click inside the panel and you're going to click the plus button. Now, in this case, I might use my camera, right? My name is John Smith. All right. Click use. It gets put right inside that panel. I teach teachers. So maybe I go to my image search and I type in teachers. All right. And I'll see what pops up here. Here, we'll put this guy in there. He looks happy. All right. So we'll put I teach teachers. All right. And then if I could be anywhere right now, maybe on the golf course, I go to my image search. I type golf. And we'll click on this one, add that in. And one interesting fact about me is that I detail cars. So I might put in a sports car. See what happens here. All right. Yeah, we'll go with this one and click add. And so all I'm doing is answering those 4 questions and adding some images in there. Now, if you want to add any of the other Book Creator goodies right on top, you can certainly do that too. It's totally up to you. But we're just going to have some fun with this. Now I'm going to go to the chat window. I do see some stuff here. Yeah, so Glenn, great question, or great observation, I should say. It's important that if you have multiple monitors, right, you're going to open one in one browser and one in the other, kind of play around with it. Sometimes bouncing back and forth is a bit tricky. All right. And then Jacqueline, she's in, but missed how to add a book. Yeah. So real quick, you're going to take this code, Jacqueline. Got the code? I think I saw a thumbs up. Okay, great. And then you're going to go to the black lines at the top left. You're going to scroll all the way to the very bottom. You're going to see a button that says join a library. Click that, enter the code, click join a library again. All right, now it'll get you in there. All right, now, if we're not quite there, everybody, it doesn't matter. We're just kind of having fun. Stephanie, yes, question.
So I'm in it, but I can't edit anything.
Good. And I'm
Okay.
glad it's you that did it. You're my delinquent student who's not paying attention to the directions. All right. So here we go. Remember, I kept saying, don't go in my book yet. All right. So if you're in my book, I want you to click the button that says library and go back to where you see all of the covers of the books. Okay. Now, here's why I say this. Because I have students that are just like Stephanie. All right. I tell them, don't do it. And they start working ahead, right? Because they're excited. And that's great. It's a
No,
good
so
thing.
it's my fault. I was watching you and I knew we weren't supposed to do that, but then I was watching you and I was like, I thought I was supposed to start working.
No,
Sorry.
it's
I'm
all good.
sorry.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. So here's why I do this. Because kids do that, right? You say, hey, I just want you to do question 1. And then you say start. And then the kids raise their hand and they're like, what do I do on page 13? And I'm like, stop, page 1. That's it. So here's how this works. Right now, if you all click on my book, you can't do anything, right? Can't do anything. That's because I did not turn on collaboration yet. So I'm going to click the share button. I'm going to turn on collaboration for everybody. And now when you click on the book, you can go in and you can edit anything except the cover page. Do not mess with my cover. All right. And it's going to make sense why towards the end. All right. So don't mess with my cover. Any other page that you want. Again, if you go to pages, you see all these little heads popping up here. I see there's 2 people on page 3. There we go. Now we're starting to split it up. Find a page where somebody isn't, and you're going to start answering those questions. All right. Now, here comes the timer. Because this is your first task, I am going to be lenient. All right. I'm going to give you 6 whole minutes to answer these questions. All right. So there's the timer. It's on. You may start. If you have questions while you're doing stuff, ask me, unmute yourself, let me know what's going on. But I will frequently be clicking through here and looking at the different pages. So I see Glenn's on page 3. Excellent. Stephanie's on page 4. If you're on page 4 with Stephanie, get out of there. That's Stephanie's page. Same thing with Glenn's, right? Page 5 looks to be open. Ashley's on page 6. Excellent. 7's open. Francis is on page 8. Good. It looks like we're all getting the hang of it. All right. I'll stop talking. You have 5.5 minutes left. All right. Let's see here. All right, Glenn. Well, we going to Germany. Well, Stephanie was born in Japan. Oh, and sister in Australia, brother in Germany, and dad from Kentucky. All right. It's like a world map. I like it. That's really cool. All right, Sierra's on there. All right, excellent. People are changing the text. Great. 5 children. Bless you, Ashley. I do some traveling for work quite often. And sometimes I'm gone for a day or two. Sometimes I'm gone for a week. And I have 3 children. And God bless my wife, right, for taking care of my 3 kids while I'm gone for a week. But it's funny because like she just does it, right? She's amazing. But then like on nights when she has parent teacher conferences, I'm like calling her. I'm like, are you done? Like, when are you coming home? And she's like, it's been 3 hours. And I'm like, I know, I need backup, right? So I don't know. I don't know how you do it with 5. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, Grace, 5th grade, in Hawaii. Yeah, sounds like fun. Oh, what was that? Interesting. Survived cancer at the age of 20. Well, congratulations, Grace. That's amazing. I'm awesome. Glad to hear that. All right, good. Looks like we got some good stuff going on. Now, while you're working, just an FYI. So right now I'm looking at the pages view. I want to caution you as teachers, do not use the pages view as a way to grade. Because if I'm looking at the pages view right now, I think that everybody's a delinquent because nobody's got anything on their page. All right, this does not always update in real time. So if you want to grade somebody's work, actually click on the page and see what they're putting on the pages, okay? But don't grade from that pages view. All right, Glenn, very good. Got some, is that like an Oculus or something on there? Excellent. Glenn, you got the Apple Vision Pro yet? I think it looks pretty cool, but I'm not real sure if I'd ever even actually use it.
I've heard great things about it.
It looks super sweet, but I just don't know if I should be doing webinars like pointing at the sky and stuff like that. I don't know. It might be cool. All right, so Jacqueline, if you're inside of a book, all right, I want you to, if you're in a book, I want you to click at the button where it says library at the top. All right, and get back to our library where you'll see all of the books. Now you have to click the little white arrows at the bottom, and you want to make sure that you're on the book where my little face looks like I'm thinking and it says, who are you? That's the only book that you can actually click in and actually start editing right now, right? Because by design, that's how I have it set up. So now when you click inside that book, you should be able to go into one of our blank template pages and you should be able to start editing some of those pages. All right, we have 90 seconds left. All right, so the pressure is on. But I will tell you, I will leave the books open so that if you do need more time, you can certainly come back to it. All right, ESL for juniors. Lived in Korea for 8 years. Be with your puppy, yeah. My dog, she's 2, and she is my lumbar support. So every time I sit on my desk chair in my office, she jumps up and sits right behind me. So she's my little lumbar support. Okay. All right. Robotics. Very cool. 5th grade. Right. Jackie's getting in there. Excellent. Okay. Well, we've got 36 seconds remaining on task number 1. So I told you there's going to be a little ounce of stress, all right, involved in this. But don't worry. If you don't get task 1 done, you can always come back. Good question, Ashley. Is there a quick way to add pictures from your drive? So if you go to the plus button inside of the panel and click Google Drive, that'll bring up your Google Drive. But because of Google's API and what they want us to have access to, it's not as easy as you want, right? Like, I wish I could just click like a button on the side that said photos and bring them in. Google, for some reason, does not allow us to do that. So I'm sorry about that. All right. Well, that was my timer, which means that task number 1, oh, yours doesn't have drive. Okay. So, all right, Ashley, this is a whole different discussion, but it's worth talking about. All right. So I thought this was going to be an easy one. Ashley's that kid. All right, here we go. So if you click the plus button and you click more, you will probably only see files and embed. Click add apps, and then you'll see Google Drive and you can turn that on, right? You click on it, you enable it, you decide what libraries you want it to be active in. And then that will turn on that drive access. All right. And that was kind of the quick nitty gritty of it, but that's how it works. All right. So take a look. And no need to be sorry. I like to pick on people. All right. Especially the ones that make mistakes, right? During the webinar. All right. All right. I'm just kidding. I have good questions. All right. So if you're in the book where you can, excuse me, I was gonna be able to finish that sentence. If you're in the book where you can edit, when I click that library button at the top, it's going to take you back to our main library where you're going to see all of those books again. Click the arrow at the bottom. Excuse me. Until you see the book with the DJ on the cover. All right, DJ John there on the cover. And so what I need you to do when I turn on collaboration is you're going to go into this book and you're going to notice, I am so sorry. You're going to notice that all of the pages are blank this time. I do not have a template, but what I want you to do is tell me the 3 songs that would be on the playlist of your life. So if you had to pick 3 songs that would represent your life, what would they be? You may go ahead and start. I'm going to give it 5 minutes, unless I still can't talk, and then you're going to get some bonus time. All right, so go ahead. All right, I think I'm back. All right, let's see. Here we go. So again, we are on the book that says play that funky music. If you had songs that would be like representative of your life, what would those songs be? For me, I don't know why I always liked Metallica's Nothing Else Matters. Like that would be a song that I would put on there. All right. Good Day Sunshine. It's a good song. All right. Looks like we got a couple people on page 2. So Stephanie, we're gonna need you to go to another page since Sierra's already started. I like how Stephanie or Amanda, somebody, whoever's on that page, is was doing some cool stuff, found the comic panel stuff. So being able to put a comic bubble in there. Absolutely. So let those creative juices flow here. Make your page look however you want. Girls just want to have fun. I haven't heard that one in a while. That's a good one. Like Under Pressure too. And Fight Song is a great one. Love that one. I am the morning Uber driver for my children. And my girls like listening to Kids Bop. Kids Bop's Fight Song version is actually pretty good. Another good one is Symphony Number 5, Beethoven. That's a good one too. Wow. Ash, you have a favorite Beethoven story? So we've got 2 minutes and 17 seconds left. All right. So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell my Beethoven story while you all are still working. So I taught in a school. My very first teaching job was in a school that was very, very inner city. And all of my students loved rap. And it was fun. Like I was like, I like rap, but I always played different music for them. They hated it. And I was like, hey, you just got to listen to some different stuff. And so the one thing that they hated all the most was classical. So more often than not, I played a lot of classical, right? Because I knew it drove them crazy, but it also calmed them down. So one day I was listening to a song that I think I heard on a radio, and I was like, oh, I was like, this is a pretty catchy little rap tune. I was like, I like this. And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking, I was like, hold up. Okay. So I go into class and I play Beethoven for my kids. And I'm like, guys, what do you think about Beethoven? And they're like, it sucks. We hate Beethoven. And I was like, okay. I was like, how about this song? And so I played this song called I Know I Can by Nas. And they start listening to it and they're bopping around the room and they're reciting all the lyrics and they're having a good old time. And I was like, okay, cool. You guys like that song? They're like, yeah. I was like, cool. I was like, let's listen to one of mine. So I put the same Beethoven song back on. And they're like, oh my gosh, not Beethoven. I was like, no. I was like, just listen. Just listen carefully to what you hear. And they're listening. And all of a sudden, this one kid in the back of the room, he gets it. He's like, oh my God, Mr. Smith, no. He's like, you just ruined rap. And I was like, what happened? So Nas sampled Beethoven's Fifth in his song. And so then I was playing Beethoven's Fifth and the kids were going crazy. And so we did a nice compare and contrast between Nas sampling Beethoven and the actual Beethoven. And from that day forward, the kids, they loved it because they were always like, oh my gosh, what song are you going to ruin today? Right. So like I would always come up with some really cool stuff. All right. Our time is up. So let's see what else we've got in here. If there's any more. Life is a highway. Don't stop believing. It's my life. All good songs. Tears and sunshine. Good day for living. Love it. All right. Click that library button. We're going to back out of the library, out of the book, back into our library here. And then underneath the funky music book, you're going to click the arrow. And you're going to see this one. What has been the most impactful piece of technology in your life? Now, before I turn on collaboration, I always like to tell this story. I used to teach a graduate class to teachers, and it was always about technologies. And I would get some teachers in there who were very scared of technology, and they were just kind of like, it comes easy to you because you're young, right? And you know technology. And so I always like to use this story. That's not true. I was actually very anti-technology for a long time. And I have two examples of this. I was the last person in my school district to stop writing IEPs by hand because I didn't want to switch to the Mac. I was also the last person in my district to switch to direct deposit because I liked just taking a physical check into the bank, right? It made me feel like I accomplished something. But guess what? My school district actually said to me, they're like, John, if you don't switch to direct deposit today, we're not paying you anymore. So I switched. But the reason I'm telling you this is because we can all learn a little bit more, right? We can always get a little bit better. And so I'm always curious, what is the most impactful piece of technology that you've come across that has changed you? For me, it was the original iPhone, right? The original iPhone made me realize that technology could be easy, right? And it didn't have to be difficult. So I'm going to turn on collaboration. I'm going to open this book, any page but the cover, free reign to put in here whatever you want. But tell me what the most impactful piece of technology could be. A physical piece of technology, could be a software program like Book Creator, could be anything you want. What has been the most impactful piece of technology? All right. I like Sierra modeling a good way of turning that question around into a statement. All right. Excellent job there, Sierra. Let's see here. I'll give you all time to answer that question. And I'm going to actually just put 3 minutes on the clock this time. Just 3 minutes. All right. Phone, yeah. So for me, Stephanie, it was the iPhone that changed it. I had a cell phone. It was one of those flip phones. It was a Razor, Motorola Razor. I think everybody had a Motorola Razor. And what really changed it for me was when I got my iPhone and realized I could change the ringtone and I didn't have to read an instruction manual in order to do it. The Razor, I had that thing for years. I still couldn't figure out how to change the ringtone. But with the iPhone, it was just like 2 seconds. And I was like, this is for me right here. It's funny to think back too that the iPhone didn't even have apps until like a year and a half later, right? The original iPhone had like 4 apps on it, and that was it. There was no app store. Microsoft Excel, the internet. Yes. Yeah, the internet. There was a quote I watched some video I think one time, and it was just think about how powerful, our kids and ourselves can be with the internet. I mean, we literally have the whole of human history at our fingertips. I mean, that is really, really powerful. Driving directions, yes. Yeah, Waze, right? Telling you where all the speed traps are so you don't get pulled over. Sometimes they don't work and you still get pulled over. Not that that happened to me recently. I'm not saying anything, I'm just making an observation. All right, we got 40 seconds left. 40 seconds left. Oop. Smartphones, yeah, for sure. All right, what else we got? Google Drive. I'm telling you right now, if Google ever decides to say, we're gonna charge you money, like watch out. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, I love Google Drive. I used to have a flip phone, 100%. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it, Sierra? The computer like the original iPhone, even not even like new ones, but the original iPhone had more computing power than it took to put somebody on the moon. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. All right, time is up. Back in our library, click the little white arrow, and you're going to go to this one. This is one of my favorites. All right, I just want you to find a picture or meme or whatever you've got. Find something that's going to make me laugh. You do not have to explain it. You do not have to write a bunch of stuff. Just put it in there. All right, so turn on collaboration. Find something that's going to make me laugh. You have 2 minutes to do this one. 2 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but most people have the exact photo already in mind. Like they know exactly what they're going to put down. 2 minutes to make me laugh. All right, let's take a look here. Everybody's still Googling funny pictures. Oh, here we go. Got one loading. Who you got for me, Stephanie? Let's see here. Come back, it's still loading. Moving it around, see if I can wake it up. Sometimes, Stephanie, I've noticed that if you like resize it, sometimes that'll kick it into gear. Sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes a little hit and miss on these photos. You can also try to delete it and try to re-add it. That may help. Sometimes the internet and the images just don't want to agree. All right, that's a good one. All right, yes, that's a good one. Made me laugh. Kind of looks like my dog, to be honest. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, and I saw that Sierra found down here at the bottom what appears to be the commenting feature. All right, so excellent. All right, we've got about time's up. I've only got one photo that makes me laugh. Let's see here if anybody else is going to put some more in there. Maybe they're just still loading. We'll come back to that one. All right. So now we're going to hit that library button again. We're going to go outside of the book, and we're actually going to skip over this one. I'm going to turn it on. All right. If calories weren't a thing, what would your ultimate meal consist of? All right. We're not going to do that one just yet for the sake of time. We're going to skip over that, and we're going to go to this one right here. It says, now that you've learned a little bit more about Book Creator, some of you for the first time, some of you for multiple times, but now that you've been playing around with Book Creator, how are you going to use Book Creator in your classroom for the rest of the year? And after we do this one, then I'm going to kind of wrap things up, and I'm going to show you how I end this activity. And I want to give you another little bit of food for thought. All right. So now that you've learned Book Creator, how we use this in your classroom, I will give you 5 minutes to do this one. If you get done early, you can go back to any of the other books and you can finish answering your questions. But we're going to give you 5 minutes to answer this question. All right. So go ahead, get started. I'm going to go back and see if any of these images loaded yet. Oh, there we go. Cats always get people, right? It's a good one for cats. Excellent. Oops. Mm. All right, ESL, create books about their home countries. Yes, love that. I want to print the books and keep them in my class for other students to read so they can learn about others' backgrounds. I like that. I think it's a great idea. Whose page was this? Was this Sierra? Yeah, Sierra or Stephanie, one of the two. Sierra. Okay. I think that's a great idea. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Well, I shouldn't say sneak peek. Sierra, I don't have a visual to show you. So I'm going to give you a sneak talk. All right. Coming soon, our engineering team is working on full book translation. So what that means is you'll be able to write a book in English, and then you'll be able to click a button at the top and translate the entire book in one button push into another language. That should be coming soon. All right. So I'm really, really excited about that. Yeah, I don't have an exact date yet, but I think it's going to be before the end of the school year. So keep your eyes peeled for that announcement. All right. Let's see here. Expect to write an ebook on the rainforest in one of our reading modules. Yes. Can't wait to use Book Creator for that. I think that's a great idea. They will definitely be more excited about writing for sure. Kids love Book Creator. All right, Amanda, start the semester with a getting to know you activity. Yes, then add more to it each week to connect with them or to check in. Yes, I like it. And then just for your reference there, Amanda, in our teacher dashboard under Discover, we do have an entire section right here of student templates. And the very first set of books are all getting started, like getting to know you books. So this is a really good, easy way you can use those books in your own classroom. Topics that are interesting to them. Yes, absolutely. Okay, excellent. All right, well, we've got about 20 seconds remaining. So here's what we're going to do. By the time I need everybody kind of back out of the book at this point, and you'll be back in our main library screen. And so what we're going to do is we're going to combine all of these books. All right, so now that we've all done all of the work, underneath one of the books, doesn't matter which one, you click this book button and you see this option that says combine books. Now, if you're in my library, you're not going to see this option because you're not the teacher of the library. I am. But when you click combine books, you'll see all the books that are in your library. You click on them in whatever order you want, and then you click next. And you say 1 book, 1 hour. Oops. And then you click create book. And what it's going to do is it's going to take a copy of all of those individual books and it's going to pull it into one big book. All right, so I took everybody's work, I'm pulling it into one big book, and in a few seconds or minutes, I will have a completed book with everybody's work in it. Now, here's where things get fun. When I open this book, there's this really awful generic cover. I know that I have students who love to design, so I'll pick on those kids to design the cover of the book, and it'll be more meaningful. Here's why I told everybody not to mess with my cover page. Because once I've combined the book, almost always there's going to be random blank pages that you don't want. So I'm going to click the pages button. I'm going to see all of our work and I'm going to hit select and just start deleting the pages that I don't want. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of them. I'm not going to do this right now because that looks like somebody actually still working on some of those. But you'll see here that this now, my cover page, becomes the chapter heading. Tell me about yourself. Here's our chapter. When I scroll down, tell me about the songs in the playlist of your life. That's a chapter. And then so forth. And right, you just keep moving on. There's another chapter. So those covers become your chapter headings, right, for your students. So there we go. So we've combined a book. I delete all the stuff I don't want. I've got my combined book here at the end. I've got some kid that designs the cover. It looks amazing. And then I click the share button and I click publish online. And then I make it private or public. Do I want people to copy it or not? And then I hit publish. And now that book is online. And I can copy the link or give the QR code and send it to moms, dads, aunts, uncles, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And people can start reading our combined book. When people do start reading it, you get analytics. So you can see how many times your book has been read. You can see what countries your book has been read in. And I'm telling you right now, somebody earlier mentioned exciting and how excited kids would be to be able to write in Book Creator. Take that and bump it about 100 when you tell them that other people around the world will be able to read their books. You will see your students change right before your eyes. Promise. Now, I want to end with one last thing. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see more people all at once here. I have another story, all right, quick story to share. The reason I love this activity is because I think as teachers, oftentimes we give kids too much time to do something. And here's what I mean. I had a friend, teacher, science teacher, and when I was a tech integrator, he invited me into his classroom and he's like, John, can you come teach my kids how to do iMovie trailers? Hands up if you've ever done an iMovie trailer. Okay. They're not difficult, right? So I go into his class. I show the kids how to do iMovie trailer. It took me maybe 10 minutes at most. And I start walking away. And he goes, where are you going? And I was like, I'm done. Like, I showed the kids iMovie trailer. He goes, you can't be done. And I was like, why? He's like, I have you scheduled for 90 minutes. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to talk about for 90 minutes. I'm done. And I turned around and I asked the kids, and I was like, how many of you have already started your project? Half the class raises their hands. I said, how many of you are done with your project? And about another 6 of the kids raised their hand. In a 10-minute period, I was able to teach it, and 6 of the classmates were already done. Half the class had already started. And he looked at me and he was about green in his face. And I was like, what's up? And he goes, I have this in my lesson plan for 3 weeks. I was like, for 3 weeks? I was like, what are you doing for 3 weeks? I was like, your kids are going to be done by tomorrow. I think we give kids too much time. And a lot of times, those teachers who give kids too much time are also the ones who think they don't have enough time. So get some of that back. Bring some of your time back. Look what we did in 54 minutes. We did a lot. We made a really nice book. And if I were to delete the pages, you'd see, right? We had this really awesome book. Could you use that idea with your students? Hey, kids, we're learning math. You get fractions. You get decimals. You get something or other. You got an hour. Answer all these questions, right? Get done with it. Now, I did want to share one last thing. This just kind of popped in my mind today. If the idea of turning on collaboration for each of these individual books is a little bit scary to you, I understand, because we don't have a revision history. And having 20 kids, 14 teachers, whatever, all in the same book at the same time requires a lot of trust, right? Requires a lot of trust. So if you're nervous about that, don't worry. I have an idea. You make the books however you want them to be, and then you use our newest feature, which is the share button and assign a book. And when you click assign a book, it's going to make an exact copy of this book for everybody in the library that they can edit. So all you have to do is do that for each of the individual tasks. Have the kids answer the individual tasks by themselves, and then you combine the books. Might be a little more work on the back end combining the books, but it kind of takes away that fear of everybody being in the same book at the same time. All right, so saw some head nods. Good. Is anybody excited about what we just did and about being able to take this to their classroom? Okay. Does anybody just want me to leave? Oh, all right, Jacqueline. I like your honesty. All right, Jacqueline's like, yeah, maybe. I might be able to do this. All right. So That's good. Jacqueline, I know part of the issue for today is that you just got in, right? So you haven't even played around with Book Creator very much. You're going to get in there. You're going to find out that you're going to play with it. You're going to love it. And if you have questions, I know you can go to Kathleen. I know you can go to her team. They'll be happy to come out and help you out and model this with you. But I know for a fact, Jacqueline, that your kids are going to go absolutely crazy over Book Creator. So are you once you get in there and start playing around with it. And maybe a little less stressful of an environment when you haven't signed up for an account yet. So no worries there. But also, for anybody that needs it, all of the webinars that we have done previously are recorded. They're in your system that Kathleen's going to jump on here, I think, in a second and explain a little bit more about. But don't forget the evaluation in Vector or sign in Vector. Make sure you do all of that. Francis, thank you so much for that. Or Grace, thank you so much for that. I appreciate those comments. I really do appreciate that. Sierra thought she was going to sit here passively, half listening. But you know what? This was fun. Those are the kinds of things that I like to hear, right? Because we're all there, and that's kind of the point. And I think if you start doing this with your kids, this kind of activity, I think they're going to have a blast, and they're going to really enjoy it. And you're going to be amazed at what your kids can create. I did have a group of 6th graders create a 100-page math textbook using this kind of method. It works. So have fun. All right, Kathleen, anything else for the good of the order?
I don't think so. You have amazing comments in the chat. So thank you, John, once again for being you and such a great presenter. We really appreciate you and are so thankful that you're able to do this for us. So I used
you.
Creator back in, I don't even know, 2010, something like that in my classroom. That's when I first fell in love with it, and I love it. And it's just gotten even better, obviously, over the past 13 years. So I encourage you to use it while you can. We have a couple schools that are interested in purchasing the license school-wide and or for a teacher license. It's really cheap. I bought it myself. It was like $80 back in the day. But if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll be happy to pass that information along to you and or your bookkeepers. So
Yeah, and thanks
it's
everybody.
free right now till June. So use it now for free.
Yeah.
Get all
Use
those
it.
books.
That's right. And thank you everybody for putting up with me. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go
Oh,
drink some
I'm so
tea.
sorry you're sick. We get it. Teachers get it. We talk through it, right? So we get it.
I actually don't feel bad at all. I sound like a garbage truck, but I don't feel bad, you know? So it's all good.
At
I
least
gotta
you're
get better.
honest.
I'm going to Canada on Monday, so I gotta get better because
Yes. Go drink some whiskey and honey. That's what we do around here. Bourbon and honey in Kentucky. So go try that.
all right. I will tell my son that too. He'll flip out, which will be even better.
Well, don't tell him that. He's too young, but you do that.
No, I'll tell him that I'm gonna do it. He'll still flip out. So he's weird. But anyway.
All right. Thanks everybody for
Thanks so
being here. Be
Bye,
patient
everybody.
with us. As soon as John is up to it and gets us the list, we'll get your PD hours added and reach out to me with IT3 if you have any questions. Again, thanks, John, so much. We always appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.